First up, thank you for coming, and a very warm welcome to the 10-year anniversary, the birthday of a very special rowing club. There'll be quite a few thank yous, but to the big team who've organised it, I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Guys, thanks so much. It's great to see so many of you here that have had such a profound connection with this place and have been such a big part of its success. It's really quite hard to believe that this place is only 10 years old, given the amount of really positive impact it's had on both on the local community and the sports sector as a whole. You know, it's really, and testament to that, it's really incredible that this year Mayor Quigley announced this place as the Mayor's Charity of the Year, which is phenomenal when you think about what it is for a charity in an area. And the one that still, I don't think, has really quite sunk in, I know Al and Julia collected the award, but HRH Duke of Edinburgh presented this club with the Community Sports Club of the Year, and that is for the whole of the UK. So you've got to remember there's 151,000 sports clubs in the UK. It's very much like the Oscars of grassroots sports, and it is such an incredible achievement. Yes, woof woof. It's such an incredible achievement for our charity to be recognised in that way. So yeah, as Chio mentioned, we're going to do a fireside chat, or a riverside chat as we're calling it today, and we're going to hear about some of the how this place is so inclusive, how it's so inspiring and so innovating, really. And we're going to hear a bit more of that from all the people that have been involved along the way and been really pioneering in that. So thank you, Chio, who's our kind of, I would say she's our in-house BBC correspondent. So we're very lucky to have her here. So thank you, Chio, for offering to do that. But before we dig into the paella, you're going to hear a bit from us. We're hoping to announce the Coach of the Year award after that, which has been voted on by all of our 40 coaches and 7-star. So that will be very exciting later on. And then after that, we are also looking out for the Great River Race, which is happening today as well. So you're going to see lots of boats coming along the river here. And we've got a vested interest as well. We've got a crew of 8 supporters who are fundraising for us today. A special thanks to Zoe Stanton, who organised that crew. They'll be flying the Fulham Reach flag, so you can see that come past, and it's got some Olympians and ambassadors in that crew. So Jess Eddy, Heather Stanning and Sophie Hoskins will be racing in that boat later, so we'll watch them and cheer them as they come past. I will just stop and just say, if that wasn't enough, Amanda, who has helped organise all of this amazing setup today, has really gone one better this year, and she's organised a boathouse silent disco today. So there's nothing quite like a day rave. So I'm hoping to see lots of amazing shapes and all that sort of stuff in the boat bay later on. Yes, please. And then we can all go home early and get some sleep too. But yeah, also before I hand over to you, I just wanted to, a massive thanks to Amanda. Thank you for the team at Windsor and Eton Brewery. So Alfie, who helped organise all that. Thank you to Simply Paella. And all the team and staff that helped organise today. So Justyna and Babs doing photos as well. A couple of other important shout outs that we should recognise. So she's not here today, but Coach Tracy. Coach Tracy was here at the very beginning, and she has been a stalwart of this club. So we just want to honour that she's achieved that. And also a massive shout out to the guy that kind of keeps everything working. So Alistair Horn, wherever he's hiding. He recently celebrated 7 years working for Fulham Reach just the other day. So and also we're incredibly lucky to have such dedicated trustees and volunteers as well. And I just shout out to obviously David, who's our chair, Mark, who's just over there, one of our trustees, and to Brian, who's been a phenomenal volunteer and member for such a long time here. And Mark Alloway as well, who's come back as a previous trustee as well, who's here today. I particularly just want to say thanks to those guys as well. They were incredibly supportive for me when I was first getting started in the job, and they've made it such a joy to work here and be a part of this. So thank you to everyone. So now over to Chio for our Riverside chat.
So first of all, I'm just going to introduce you to those very important people here. Adam, Freeman Pass, you will all be familiar with many of them. For those who row and come down, they're familiar faces. Other people might not see them as much because they're not down here during the day. So Adam, we know, Adam Freeman Pask is CEO of the club, is doing a sterling job. David Fitzherbert, right by me, is chairman of Fulham Reach Boat Club and has, a history here. He was there from the beginning. To his side, we've got Steve O'Connor, and he's a founder. Now, if you don't know Steve's face, we all know him. He's the founder of Fulham Reach Boat Club. He, he's instrumental in us being here today and rowing. To his side is Julia Phillipson, the club's fundraising manager and highly involved in the free water sports programme. Sitting next to Julia is Imogen Walsh. Now, I come down in the day a bit, so I know Imogen. If you haven't met her, she is the lead and sort of project manager of Boats Not Bars, an incredible initiative with huge social impact. She's going to be talking about that in a moment. So without further ado, I'm going to start off because we have Steve here who pegged it over from Henley, where he now lives. You've been forgiven for leaving the club, but I'm going to start with you by asking you about your vision. What drove you to found this very unique club?
Well, thank you very much, and thank you very much. It's really, really good to be back. Can we stand up? Oh, okay. So, what founded it? So basically, I was running Barnell's Boathouse, which is just on the other side of the water down there. And I remember one of the coaches came in and said, there's a company called St. George that are advertising for a boat club consultant to write a plan for a community boat club. You should probably have a look at that. So that was the first time I'd heard of any sort of idea of a plan or anything for this place. And the brief was that, come up with a community boat club. So for me, I wanted to tie it to my own journey in the sport, and I rowed at a state school. We were one of the two, I think, state schools in the country at that time that rowed back in the late 90s. And so I just was really clear in my mind that we had to provide a facility that offered this incredible sport to as many people as possible, and we made access to the sport as easy as possible. So that was really the driving motivation to start with it, and everything then sort of started snowballing from there, and the other programs came online. But the sort of DNA, I think, of this place is about young people, but not just young people rowing, general access to the sport and leveling the playing field when it comes to getting out on the river.
Thank you, Stephen. I think I'm right in thinking that you and David met because you were coaching David, is that right, down in Barn Elms? And then can I get you to hand the mic to David? So that's how you met, right?
Yeah. I'm going to sit down for this. I'll be like a yo-yo otherwise. How did we meet, darling? So David and I met through. So long story short, a mate of mine who I went to uni with was training David. You said to him, I want to get back on the water. He said, I know a bloke, which is me. And then we started sculling out of Barn Elms. And then shortly after that, I said to David, there's this community boat club thing happening. What do you think? And you said, well, hey, let's go. And so that really started our time together.
It's a funny thing about rowers. Many of us will have come to rowing because we really hated something else. And as Steve said, I really hated our personal trainer. So anything to get away from him, I took up rowing again. And when I'd been a kid, I really hated cricket. And so being able to go rowing was marvellous. Also, I was tiny, so I couldn't do anything useful other than sit in the back of a boat and shout. And I was quite good at that, and I continued doing that. And I know some other people here who are quite good at that as well. But just sort of thinking about Fulham Reach, the thing about it is, whatever our motivation for coming here, and some of the schools actually press gang their year 9 kids to they have to do it. It's part of the curriculum. But apart from then, everyone else comes here for their own reasons, and as soon as you get out on the water, you forget about everything else, and you have to be doing the same as the other people in the boat. And it's hard work, it's humiliating, it's often foul weather, your hands never recover again, and yet it creates a bond which is just extraordinary. And seeing so many people here today who have been through that process, it's very hard to explain to people who haven't done it. And I think that what's thinking back over the 10 years of having the honour of being involved here, it's been the people, it's been all of you which have really made this club. And whether it's been the adult members, the junior members, the schools, and there have been well over 10,000 people have been through this just through over the years. Whether it's the coaches, and there must have been well over 100 coaches who have been involved here. Whether it's the incredible effort which the management, and particularly the two chief execs on either side of me, whether it's the volunteers, whether it's the donors, whether it's the trustees, there's an extraordinary group of people who are all, dare I say it, pulling together to try and create a group of friends, colleagues, fellow crew members, and it's seeing all of us together today in a great group, but even just seeing individual crews going out, it's that extraordinary bond which is created, which I think is the real achievement. And what Adam's doing now, reaching out, what Imogen's been doing for several years in the Boats Not Bars programme, what Adam's doing now in terms of reaching out to previously excluded members of the community, I think just further reinforces what an inclusive club this is, and how we're going to be including more and more people into this friendship through what could be seen as a masochistic sport, but it does create an extraordinary bond. So thank you very much to Steve and Adam for making it happen.
David, thank you. You mentioned extraordinary bonds and community, and Adam went through, oh, look at that. That's an omen. Adam went through a couple of the kind of amazing projects that are happening now. I just want to drill down to one immediately. Imogen, who I introduced earlier, leads the Boats Not Bars initiative, and that is really helping with rehabilitation. She works with prisoners, but I'm going to hand over the mic now and ask Imogen to just tell us a little bit about the project, because not everybody knows about it, and only if you're in the day you may have met Imogen, but for those who have heard of Boats Not Bars, can you just tell us a little bit more about the incredible project?
So many of you probably already know the story of John McAvoy and how he found rowing when he was in prison, and it gave him an incredible focus whilst he was in there, and it gave him a community when he was released. And it's through getting to know John and learning about his story and about the situation of the criminal justice system, which isn't doing what it intends to do, which is prevent people from reoffending. Combined with sort of my own experience of sport, so I retired from sport in 2016, not having achieved the rowing goals that I hoped I would, and that made me reflect on what it was why did I get involved in sport, in rowing, and it was about the community, and it was kind of through sort of John's experience, sort of a greater understanding of the justice system, and kind of seeing that community thing, what that gave me, and all the good habits that I learned in rowing, which then trickled into the other parts of my life. That if we could give people in the prison system that experience, that could help with their futures. So it was a conversation with Steve in 2019, sort of having this sort of idea of could we do rowing in prisons. Thankfully, Steve was keen. We started the pilot project in 2019 in spring, and then by October that year we started in 5 prisons sort of in and around London. So we got off to a good start until COVID happened 6 months in, shut everything down. But its rebirth post-COVID has actually been almost a blessing, I would say. It's now got so much more to it. We look at the project, not just the rowing part of it, but what else do people need? So maybe it's qualifications and coaching, or we focus on well-being, and in one of the prisons we have a psychologist who works with participants. And I think the future of it is getting more and more people involved in this fantastic community, and it wouldn't be what it is without the people that are here. We have some fantastic volunteers who deliver sessions in prisons. Judith's here, and we've also got some of our coaches, Nick, Andrew, and Paul. But it's all the members as well that make it what it is, and integrating the participants into this fantastic supportive community, which is what's going to help them in their future.
Thank you, Imogen. And you were talking about sort of the wider community, and actually the club is is more than rowing, isn't it? Because Julia is going to now tell us a bit about the free water sports initiative, and although it's a rowing club, it's a bit wider than rowing, and I know everybody's rowing nuts here, but there's more going on than just rowing here at Fulham Reach. Julia.
So I work as a fundraising manager here, and have a great team in Amanda Wood, just over here, who's organised the great event today. And everything that we do is needs-led. It's looking out into the community and seeing where the community may need our support and how we can create better access out onto the water in London for individuals who may need it most. So our free water sports weeks is a 3-week course in the summer and a week in Easter. It came about because Steve actually at that time saw something in 2019 where kids that received pupil premium or free school meals, what did they do over the summer holidays? What did they do during the Easter holidays? And thought, well, actually our club is quite empty over that time, and actually we could do something to support them. So today we have a really fully formed, wonderful course that takes place at Easter and over the summer holidays, where individuals come, learn to row, they learn to kayak, they now learn to beach sprint, they may be in the next Olympics as far as we know. It's a great entry level point for people to come and enjoy the community of Fulham Reach Boat Club. They hear inspirational speeches every day from people like the RNLI, from St John's Ambulance. They hear about resilience, about nutrition. They hear from amazing athletes like our own Imogen Walsh, and where sport may lead them. But it's much more than that. It's about community and giving people a place to belong. Very much what we want to do is give people purpose, a place where they can fit, and a place where they can belong. And if I just look out into the audience here, I can see some young people that came to us through that course and now are fully fledged members, and some of them have gone right through the membership and have come out the other side and are now learning to be coaches and are coming back to inspire the next generation of young people. So our free water sports weeks for me is the most amazing charitable purpose, one of the most amazing charitable purposes that we have, but it really brings young people and people that would never have access onto the water and gives them all of that self-belief and potential that only that can bring.
Thank you, Julia. So that's just a few nuggets of the scope of the club, but from its founding 10 years ago, it's quite remarkable to see where it reaches and how many communities it impacts. Now, I think this moment I want to bring Adam in, because there have been developments. I mean, from rowing for supporting prisons, teaching teenagers over the summer, providing them with amazing nutrition and food while they're doing it. All of this is massively important. To inclusive rowing and disability. So Adam, tell us a bit more about where the club's going and sort of current developments.
Yeah, I mean, it was already a fantastic place to start off. But yeah, we've been joining a few more dots together. So I think something that was really interesting probably this time last year is we started working with alternative provision schools. So this is kids with high special educational needs, might have been excluded from mainstream education, and there's a few schools nearby that are in that sort of category. And actually when you go into those schools, they are almost like mini prisons, unfortunately. They have prison doors on them, they're like airlocks, you have to go between zones. And I mean, this isn't really a way to educate and bring kids up. But we've been working with one of those schools from last September, and it's been fantastic. The kids on that programme have got so much from it, and we've learned how to deliver well on that from the work that Imo's been doing on Boats Not Bars, which has been fantastic. Not far from here is the Clematley Estate. I don't know if some of you know that. It's a slightly sort of an area that is sometimes forgotten about in Hammersmith and Fulham, which is really disappointing. It's really underloved, and but there is also an amazing charity there called Action on Disability, and they look after a lot of the disabled people in our community. We've been reaching out to them. We've done coffee mornings with them, and actually it was really exciting during the Paralympics. We even launched our first disability rowing program here. Again, really expertly led by Julia and actually Tim. Tim was coaching on that along with Darren. I don't know if Darren's here yet, and Denise. They did an amazing job at coaching on that session, and we had visually impaired and blind children out rowing on the Thames, having an amazing experience. And I think actually Tim also took one of them out for a speedboat ride, which they absolutely loved. So really eye-opening stuff, and really reaching out to people that are quite often left behind or not thought about. So it's been really a real revelation doing part of that. And actually, I mean, the free water sport weeks this year, they were fantastic last summer, but they just seem to get better and better. This year we had the added benefit of the Olympics being on. So we had that on the telly. We had Olympian visits, but actually on the Thursday of the Olympics this year, I don't know if you ever tuned into the TV on that day, but Fulham Reach was on Sky News, BBC, ITV, Channel 4. Like, we actually had, I think it was about 25 different media teams here covering it, but with all the kids rowing, all the kids watching the racing, and it was absolutely amazing. It was like proper global coverage for Fulham Reach, and it was just so special. But yeah, so what about the future? So obviously, yeah, keeping pushing on with all our schools work. That stuff's going from strength to strength, and credit to Alistair for all his hard work with the schools. But yes, disability rowing is an area we're growing into, and obviously special educational needs linked to the schools work. And the other area that's quite exciting is our work to do with the environment. So we speak to a lot of the young people that we support here, and the environment is very high up on a lot of people's agenda, as it should be. So we're doing river cleanups here. We've had a team of volunteers that have cleared about 500 kilos of rubbish so far this year. We've got our first electric launch running, and the idea there is to remove 14,000 kilograms of CO2 from our operations, and we're moving forward with that. Hopefully going to have a charging pontoon, which would be quite cool, so really leading the way there. And we've also been doing the water quality testing. So people have known for years, anecdotally, that the river isn't great here, or it can be bad at times, but we're being very proactive with monitoring that and being aware of when the river is bad and advising people accordingly. So that was really kind of industry-leading work, and that again attracted a lot of attention around the boat race earlier this year. So yeah, the environment and disability rowing is some new areas for us, but I think we're leaping on into it, and everyone's very behind it, and it seems to fit very well with what we're doing as a charity. So yeah, lots more great stuff to doing, but lots of great stuff already as well.
That's pretty impressive, a bit of your media maestro and environmental champion. I mean, there's a lot going on at rowing, and I just want to take the moment now, because a lot of the faces out here, you know, we're recognising them. They've been down to these amazing events when we had the Paris Olympians come and show us the medals. You got to talk to them, you got to ask advice about how to become a Koch.